All righty. And I guess the story of the morning here, 12/1, 2025, December 1st, is Bitcoin getting a bit of a drubbing overnight, pretty much out of the gate last night, falling off a cliff. I was trading up near 92K. Now trading 85 and change. Got as low as 84, call it 84,750, and it has dragged most of the other markets down with it. We got the ES now down, actually off its lows, down 43.75. NASDAQ down 227. Dow down 200, who gives a flip. And then the Russell down 24. Gold up 34. Silver and copper following along with that. Bonds off a few ticks. And the dollar is off. And so as far as like market action today, the only spot I'm really going to be looking at or concerned about today for a possible long, if we kind of grind it down there, is 67.90 or so. About 67.90 or so. That was a swing high from back on Thursday, the 20th. It was a area of resistance when I drew that line, which now has become a area of support because we've since blown through there. All right, and so that is kind of that. My expectations going forward are going to be that we stay in this range. If it holds, right? If it doesn't, everything can change, right, in a heartbeat. And I've been wrong before. But anyway, my expectations are that we stay in this, on the ES, is we stay in this range going forward for the next week or two. 6,900 or so to about 6,790. And we kind of grind through there. Now, I think there's a lot going on this week as far as like markets and news and blah and lions and tigers and bears and all that bullshit. Oh my. Yeah, I mean, apparently there is kind of a lot going on the economic calendar. We still have drips and drabs of earnings kind of pouring through. We also have some econ type data coming through as well this week. I think Wednesday. I think it's Wednesday. Wednesday. We have the infamous, I think, isn't there like still getting used to TradingView. They keep changing shit around in here. Kind of pisses me off. It seems like, it's like, dude, just leave things the same for a little while until people get used to it, and then their ads are really starting to piss me off. Now, I guess it's not this week. Maybe it's next week. I thought this week was some kind of I thought it was some kind of something, but it's not. Doesn't look like anything. Is there? Yeah. Wait a minute. Yeah, Wednesday. Yeah, Wednesday is action-packed. All kinds of stuff. Mortgages, export prices, manufacturing, ISM, crude oil, and whatnot. So Wednesday is a pretty big day for stuff. There's really not too much going on today as far as like data. There's some construction spending type stuff, but nothing I really think is going to move the tape. Just my opinion. It's actually today is Fed chair's speech, and supposedly he's supposed to resign, is what I'm seeing rumors. I don't know if it's true. I don't really care. I mean, if you really think that he's like, although he's the head of it, or if you really think he's the guy pulling those strings, you're an idiot. He's just nothing but a puppet of the board. So And I think they're pushing for rate cuts. And so I think, I don't know, maybe his days are numbered. I hope he goes. I always think it's not that I have anything specifically against him in general, but, I just think we need a kind of fresh perspective and kind of a renewal. We kind of been dealing with his policies for quite a while now. And so I just think that cycling him out will kind of at least maybe put a fresh perspective on things. And it's always good for me. It's always good to have somebody new and start out fresh. I believe. He's been there a little too long. I think he just needs to go. So that's it. That's all I really have to say. So what am I going to be watching today? I'm likely going to be watching that on the ES. I'm also going to be watching this on the Russell as well. On the Russell, the number is 24.66, so quite a ways away on the Russell. And that is about it. And then I'm also going to be looking at some of these AI stocks like Hut 8. They're all under pressure today. Anything with any kind of hooks into Bitcoin or even data center type stuff, all under pressure today with this pullback. So we'll be looking at those. And then if I were going to flip the switch here and go into what happened to my... I'm going to flip the switch here and go into Tasty Trade and look at some earnings. The only one that really kind of piqued my interest short term here for tomorrow, and we could actually even talk about tomorrow, it's going to be tomorrow after the close, is CrowdStrike. Now, the problem I already see with this is I was looking at this one yesterday, and I made a couple of posts about it. And when I looked at it yesterday, the IB rank was over 50. And now today, it's now quoting out at 35.70. So that kind of sucks. And we've already gotten a decent kind of collapse here on this volatility, which kind of blows. Like it kind of does. I kind of hate that when that happens, but it is what it is. But if I was going to be looking at anything, it's going to be in December. And this one, you're getting paid pretty well. They're expecting a $50 move. So a $50 move out in December. And I can sell a true 1 standard D here and kind of pull in a decent amount of premium. So I can sell a 440 and go all the way out here to a 580 strangle. And if you have the capital, this one's always kind of this one's always a bear when it comes to capital requirements. There's no question. It's always been a margin hog, but you can bring in almost $1,000 on this. You're going to use $5,000 in capital, but you can bring in almost $1,000. Probability of profit of 76%. Probability to make 50%, 81. Almost delta neutral, which is really nice. And then the theta number off the charts, right? Huge theta in there, which is beautiful. And so you're likely going to be able to do a trade like this and then be out of it quickly Wednesday morning, right? Because it's going to be tomorrow after the close, so you'd have to do it Tuesday night or Tuesday afternoon before the close, and then likely if when you get that volatility collapse on Wednesday, you buy this back and likely hopefully make some money, but you'll be able to get out of this one really quick. And then the nice thing is if they even want to do like a risk defined in an iron condor, which is likely what I'm going to do, you can still pull in like $120 and keep these numbers pretty much the same. You're killing the theta, but you're still going to get a decent amount of crush on this, and you're only using $380. So that is what the trades that I do like, and I'll throw them up on the curve just so that it looks good in the broadcast. But this is what the iron condor looks like. This is what the strangle looks like. All right. And then again, the nice thing about this one is I could even do the 10. I can do a 10 wide, which is likely the one I'm going to do because it brings in more premium. I can get $2.27, and I'm only going to use it. It's right in my wheelhouse. You know, I'm comfortable with using about $800 worth of buying power on a trade like this, and still all these numbers still well in the wheelhouse. Again, good theta on that as well. So you can slice and dice that one however you feel, whatever your risk tolerance is, whether, you know, if you got the capital, definitely do the strangle, and you got the chutzpah, go for it. It's just not in my wheelhouse, you know, a little bit too rich for me. But again, we always throw it out there because it's an option. And then you have the traditional iron condor, which is 5 wide on either side. Right, which is 5 wide on either side, or the more aggressive kind of pseudo, in a way, it's kind of a poor man's strangle, you can call it, and do the 10 wide iron condor, bring in a little bit more premium, and then play that one for earnings. And so that's CrowdStrike, and that was really the only one that I kind of had on deck for tomorrow. And then I did look at Dollar Tree. I still have this one up. This one's just not doing it for me. Let me clear this one. I don't know. It just doesn't look like there's any there. Expecting a $10 move, and like even if I do, like, let's say I do a 1 standard deviation strangle in here, margins are decent. I'm not going to say they're great. They're decent, but you know, I don't really want to use $1,900 to make $177. It's not, again, in my wheelhouse. Good probability of profit, right? Theta numbers, good, delta, whatever. It's just not in my wheelhouse. And then the problem with this one is that even in a 1 standard D, and let's say I do an iron condor, and I do like a traditional, I'm not barely getting $1 on this. And that definitely puts it out of my wheelhouse. I need to pull this into, or literally do it right at the 1 standard D in order to make this worth my while. And then I'm just barely, if you look here, I'm just barely getting $100. So again, it's just not in my wheelhouse to do anything. It's just, you know, although volatility is actually pretty good in here, I didn't really look at it historically. And historically, it looks pretty good as well. It looks like historically, this one runs in the 30s, mid 30s or so, and, you know, it's at 48. So, you know, but again, not in my wheelhouse. Now, this one is before the bell, so you would need to do this one tonight if you were going to do it. Or at least, no, tomorrow night. You'd have to do it tomorrow before the close because it's on the 3rd before the bell. And then the other one that I'm probably going to do is CRM, but I'm not going to get into that here because it's a couple of days out still. And so are many of the others. And so we still have some of these earnings dripping in. And that is actually all I have to say about that. And so that's it. That's all I got. I wish I had more, but I don't. And rather than be just a blabbering bullshit artist like so many other clowns out there in this space, I just refuse to go down that path and just call it quits and say, you know, that's all I'm doing today. And, you know, Bitcoin, my opinion on that, it still stands firm. I still think we're going to 75K. And likely maybe even 70. I know there's things circulating out there about MSTR. Let's go back to big tech. MSTR, that the break even on them and break even price on them with owning Bitcoin in here is somewhere between 70 and 75,000. I don't know what the number actually is. I've heard a number of different numbers thrown out there, but so I'm just kind of taking it that it's about 70 to 75,000, and I think that's more of what's going on, is that these companies like MSTR are really the ones feeling the most pressure on this Bitcoin kind of pullback. So that's it. That's all I got. Short, sweet, and to the point today. Wow, 15 minutes, and hope this helps. And like I said, CrowdStrike's the only one kind of in the wheelhouse to do anything here. And we kind of have another day for this one too, so probably talk about it again tomorrow. So have a good one, and hope you have a good, profitable trading day.